Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show some of the UI UX improvements that are currently incoming for LocalAI. And these are centered around model configuration, debugging errors in the various backends we have for all of the different models we have, and just general quality of life improvements to make LocalAI simpler and easier to deal with, which historically has been the main criticism of LocalAI. LocalAI is a very complicated piece of software with a lot of features. It's always been built with the attitude that we add stuff that's cool, not what's easy to deal with. So let's get into it. First up, we have installing models, which previously there was some information that was missing because the way that models are stored and configured is deduplicated on the back end, so we have to retrieve a bunch of information when building a gallery index. So previously there was some information missing, like the back end that a model uses and the files that it downloads, this kind of thing. But you can now drill down into this in the model and find out. You can also filter by backend, because quite often you probably don't want to install like a whole bunch of different backends. They all take up a lot of space and that kind of thing. So on systems with more limited storage space, you probably just want to stick to Llama C++, for example, or one of the C++ models. So we can now filter stuff to just, let's say, stable diffusion, backend models, and so on. And okay, so let's say we want to install a Qwen model that's on, wrong thing, that's on Llama C++. Let's put that in there. Yeah, we can go download this. That will now download. Okay. So that's that. Next, there's what problems do we encounter when actually running models? Well, a lot. These models have very complex configuration, and there's all kinds of stuff in the gallery, and some of it may not be configured correctly for your setup. Like quite often, when you install a model, the default context size might be too big for your GPU and this sort of thing. So when we try running something, we'll quite often encounter errors. So let's try saying hello to the embeddings model. Embedding is not supported in streaming mode. So yeah, you can't stream text from an embedding model. And that's pretty obvious from the response. But let's select another one, like let's try talking to Qwen 4B. Okay, it's currently trying to do something. Oh no, okay. So now we've got a new error message, and actually we can see straight away that this is because CUDA failed to allocate the requested buffer. This message won't always bubble up through into the errors properly. So if it doesn't, then we can click on View Traces for details. And we can see here we have the trace item for model loading. Again, it's got the CUDA error which managed to bubble up. But let's say that actually this doesn't get picked up and sent to you. You can go and click on the backend logs, and then you can read the full log from the Llama C++ backend to find out what went wrong. And this is keyed per model. So you have a log per model for Llama C++. And again, we can see here that the error message that we got at the top level is this one here, that we failed to allocate memory. And this is probably like the most common error you'll ever see, is memory allocation failure. And quite often it's because your context is too big. So just to be aware. Okay, let's leave that for now. So next on the list is model configuration, which again, go to import model. Configuring models is typically, historically, again, you had to go and edit a YAML file if you wanted to configure the model. And so we're trying to move away from that, like more towards simpler things. Like first of all, we've had this import from Hugging Face form for a while. And since adding the talk page, which requires a pipeline model, we've now also added a form to edit the pipeline model. Because previously you would have had to have edited this as raw YAML, which comes out looking like this, and actually you can ignore most of these parameters, they're not used. The important part here is this. And yeah, previously we would have had to have edited this file in order to add a pipeline model. But now, instead of doing that, we can actually just fill in this form, and there's a bunch of drop downs to add each model. If you don't have a model installed, like if you don't have VAD installed, VAD, voice audio detection, you won't see anything here, and you can go and search for it in the model gallery. And when we're selecting a model from this list, it now has auto completion as well. So you can search and just hit enter for select. And that's it. So a lot easier than editing a YAML file. And we'll start rolling that out for the for other models as well. Okay. So let's try connecting and see what happens.
That sounds like a good idea. Go ahead and see what happens, and let me know if you need any help along the way.
Okay. Yeah, great. So that works. So let's take a look at how much video RAM. Okay, so we're using most of our video RAM. So what have we got loaded? We've got all the stuff for the pipeline model. We've got our music model loaded. We've got everything loaded. We've even got Flux loaded. I'm going to struggle to actually demonstrate what happens if I run out of video RAM. This is amazing. Actually, I'll tell you what we can do. Stop this one. And we can go and edit it. Okay. So we can increase context size. By default, this model has 200k context, so often you have to add this to the YAML. Currently working on a way to make that easier. So let's save that for now, just to demonstrate what happens when we use too much video RAM. So let's go and see now if we can actually chat to that. Okay, it's currently trying to load. You can even go and look at what's happening in traces. Okay, it failed. Let's just click on this link. It failed, and it gave us like the error message that traditionally we'd usually get, which is just EOF. like not hugely useful. Let's go and look at what's happened. Okay, so model load failed. It was the one we tried to do. Let's go and look at the backend details. Okay, so this time what we actually have here is it looks like a stack trace or a back trace, but we can still see we had this error message before before we ended up with a what appears to be a back trace with no symbols. Weird. In any case, yeah, it couldn't allocate, and obviously the error path it took, we weren't able to extract the full error message, so we had to come and look at the backend logs. Awesome. So simple solution to this is we just change. We can try removing some models. We don't need all of these. Let's get rid of all of these and see if after that we can actually run this model. No such process. Lovely. Okay, so we have a phantom process in the system, but if it's not really there, then it's not really using any VRAM. Okay, so let's go to chat. Let's try it again. See if we can manage a 64K context. Yeah, we can apparently. That's okay. It runs pretty fast on my GPU. 68% used. Awesome. Okay. So let's go and try and generate a video, I think, or an image. Let's try an image first. We may actually be able to do this without freeing up any more space. No, okay, we've got the same kind of weird message. Go to backend logs. Okay, so it tries to take us to roughly where the request started in the log. Okay, and we have the same problem again, failed to allocate CUDA buffer, and then we have this ultra long stack trace because after this error happened, it seg faulted, and yeah, it's just everything went wrong. Just cascade of failures. Yeah, so we can still improve this process by better extracting that error, but you can, as you can see again, you can come into the backend log and view that. Maybe we can make some video. Sorry. No, audio. Okay, let's see if this one can load. Apparently, yes. I'm not sure where the dubstep twist is in this, but okay. Excellent. And of course, you know, when you actually have successfully generate something, this also appears in the back end. Okay, so what else? No, that's it for now. Goodbye.